Hello, what's up everybody? How is it going? Welcome to another video of tutorial series Learning Codeigniter from Scratch. I'm your host Anwar Ali, and I'm here today continuing the same topic that we were dealing with last time. The topic was working with the front end using Codeigniter. And if you are not aware of what we are doing right now, you can refer to my previous videos where we completed our backend for this news portal, and we covered lots of topics like session handling, pagination, add, edit, and deleting using Codeigniter, image upload, searching, and lots of stuffs. And in the previous video, we started working with the front end, where we have our header, we have our footer, and some basic news listing using Codeigniter. And today we'll just continue with the same topic. And so let's get started. Today what I've done is I've created a folder called CSS, where we'll be where I have a file known as style.css, and I have linked it in my header here, style.css. So we'll start working, and I have just an empty file, so we might write some of the CSS whenever we need it. So we can see that we have completed a basic news listing page, which does not look quite good. So you can see that there are lots of things that we need to work out in this page. So though the styling is not much important, but as a developer's perspective, I would like to tell you that we should consider some few things. For example, you can see the height of this div is a little bit larger than this div, because this div has one line of title, while this div has two lines of title, that is forcing the height of this div to be larger than the regular divs. Similarly, in this div we have two lines, this div we have one line of title, and this is causing some of the some problems with our styling. So what we can do is, first thing, whenever we are displaying a title, just like how we display the substring of the description, we can also display the substring of title. And in this case, what I can do is substring. I would just want to display first 50 characters of the title. Starting from 0, I want 50 characters to be displayed in the title. I'm not sure if 50 is going to be fine, but let's check. It's still longer, so let's say not 50, but let's say 35. And refresh this. Now we can see that it has shrink to one line, and we can just add dot 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 at the end of the title, so that people becomes aware that the title is much more. Okay, so now we can see that the all of the images and text are aligned properly. Now we can work on some of the paddings and gappings between the div, so that it gets separated properly. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can just add a parent div, or let's say news list. Okay, and give a tab, refresh this. Now inside for news list, we can write a CSS this way in our style.css. We don't want to touch our bootstrap CSS in order to add our own custom CSS. We will just create our own style.css, and we can add our custom CSS over there. So this is always a good practice to add new CSS. So news list, you can say margin bottom could be something like 15 pixel. Now if we refresh this, we can see the 15 pixel margin has been is equally distributed for each blocks, and this makes our listing looks a little bit fine. Secondly, we could have worked more on designings, but I would not like to work on them right now. I'll just jump onto the topic and how to go to the detail page. So what we can do here is, instead of having a div called news list, we can make it anchor. First thing, because we want this entire div to be pointed to some other page. Okay, and we want to have href, and we'll work on href shortly. Now, since anchor is not a block tag, so it does not behave like a div. So in order to make it block, what we can do is we can make this news list display block so that it behaves like a div and the entire div becomes an anchor. Let's see. Now the entire div is behaving like an anchor. Even the image, title, description, everything is behaving like an anchor, which is perfect except of the stylings. So what we can do is we can change its text color by writing color to be #000. This will make the text color of this entire div to be black. You can see that now it is not looking so much awkward. Secondly, what we can do is we can say that whenever we hover on it, it is showing us an underline below each text, and it is not looking quite good. So what I will do is, so news list on hover, I don't want any text decoration, so text decoration should be none. I don't want any text decoration whenever we hover. So now we can see that it's looking quite good. Okay, so this was the first thing I wanted to work on. Now let's work on the link of this let's say news. So whenever we click on this, I want to take our user to a new page where we have a detail page with a big image, big news, and total description, or the entire description of the news. So I want to create a detail page, and in order to do that, what I will do is in my home.php where I'm listing my news, I'll give a link to this anchor, let's say php echo site underscore URL, and my link would be let's say home controller detail, and maybe I can pass the ID. So there can be some alternate to using the ID, like using slugs, and which could be a better practice, and I will come to that later on, maybe in next videos. But for now I'm using ID, and my ID is n arrow ID, right? So n arrow ID. So let's see if we are getting the news properly. So let's see, click on this, we can see home, detail, and 7. It's saying 404 not found because we have not worked on it yet, but we are getting our news properly, which is perfect. So let's go to home controller and make our detail function just below function detail, and since it is receiving an ID, I should pass a parameter called ID. Now I can call a function that says this, and my model is news model, news underscore model. And you can say I think I have a function called get by ID, and just call it and pass the ID over here. Let me just cross check if I have a model call, if I have a function called get by ID inside news model, and here we go, we have a function, right? So it is returning a row, and I need to create an array to hold this array, let's say model or we can also call it news, and I need to pass this array to my view. So this load view, let's call it news underscore detail, and pass my data over here. So now we need to create a view called news underscore detail inside my views folder. So new file, control S, and call it news underscore detail dot php, and save it. Let's say test detail page. Let's just save it. Let's check to see if it's working fine. We can see test detail page is here, so our news detail page is working fine. Now since this is the page where we will be listing our news detail, and we don't want our header and footer to disappear in other page, we want this header and footer to appear in each and every page. So my footer should show this, and my header should show this in each and every page and even in news detail page. So what I will do is, just like I have loaded the header and footer in my home page, I want my header and footer to be listed in news detail page. So I will just copy and paste my entire home page and remove all other contents except for a news detail page. So my news detail page should now show the header and footer, which is perfect, and in between I want the title of the news firstly. So heading h1 tag php echo, and my title of the news is $model and title, right? So let's see if we got our title. Yes, we have our title. Secondly, what we want is, we want the image of the news to be shown. So img src equals to php echo dollar echo site underscore url, and my images are inside uploads folder. So I can say uploads and dollar model image, right? So let's see if we got our image. Yes, and what I can do is, since the image could be quite big, so I can just give this a class that says, let's say, or what we can also do is, we can create, let's just give it a class called image dash fluid. Class equals to img image dash fluid. I think this is the class. Let me just cross check it. So img dash fluid is not image, it's img dash fluid. In order to make it responsive or 100% width, I can just give the class called img dash fluid. So it is just occupying the space it needs to, and we have our image here. Now I want to show a description below the image, which I would like to show in paragraph tag. So php echo $model description, save it, refresh this, and we can see now we have our description just below the image, and we can just show our author name over here. So what we can do is, we can say p and give the author name here php echo $model and author, save it, refresh this. We have the author here. We can just give some label so that people understand UTHOR author, and maybe we can keep this in italic tag just to make it look a little bit separate, different than other. So let's see, refresh this. We have our author over here, we have our heading, we have our image, we have our description. Okay, so I want to make these links work now. So whenever I click on home, it should take me to the home page, and about and contact is something just I placed it for maybe some random links, but at least I want this home page to work. So what I'll do in my header is, since my home page is my base URL, so let me just refresh this and click on home page, and it's taking me to the home page. Whenever I click on Honduras arrests mastermind behind, so we got that. Heavy rains brings flooding to parts of Kenya. Perfect. Healing on the Syria-Turkey border, right? 50 feet of 50 feet from Syria, works fine. And UN on Syria, works fine. So everything is working perfect. So this is how we work on detail page whenever we are working on front end. So while listing, we just list some of the, let's say, teaser text like this, just 1 or 2 lines, and whenever user click on this, we show a bigger image, full title, full description. This way, if you have dates and times in our database, we could also have shown that. We can have some social media sharing on the top, just to share the news in the Facebook title, Facebook wall. And there are a lot more things we can do, and we'll just cover it day by day, covering some different topics. So this is what we did today, and I hope you understood how to work on detail pages. And if you have any confusions, you can mention it in the comment. And if you've understood this, just like it, share it, subscribe it. I will really appreciate that. Until then, have a nice time, have a nice day. Goodbye.